Oh, hello, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Davi L. For those who don't know, I appreciate you being here per usual. Very grateful. I have a topic to talk about. I have a little house t-shirt on because period. We chilling today. We're vibing because my topic today is very chill. It's something that I think about quite often in my life, but I haven't put it into words per se. And if I have, I don't remember, so I'm gonna say it again. But I've always been the type of person that just takes leaps of faith. And I didn't think I was that person because I would sprinkle it into my life. Until now, I really am that person. Jeez. But earlier on in my life, I really had it in me. I would just hold back a little bit. It's like that was the challenge I had. And so I kind of want to talk about that today and how my leaps have really led me to now do things that I would have never expected me doing. Like I got a bachelor's degree in communication, but yet I'm baking right now, amongst other things. I'm into astrology. Like there's a lot of things that I do in my life that I wouldn't have seen coming. However, I think in my opinion, we all have signs of like the vibes that we possess within us, but fear will hold us back or will kind of let society run us and go a different route. But yet the signs have always been there. The vibes have kind of always been there. And so I want to talk about a little bit of it because I've had spurts of I'm gonna do it my way many times in my life. And so let's go down a little bit of memory lane and kind of figure out how does maybe apply in your life. And if that doesn't apply in your life, let's just talk and let's see if maybe this pops some things up for you and how to overcome certain challenges that you're faced with, X, Y, and Z. So let's start off with little Davielle. I was maybe 4 years old. Age is sometimes tough for me when it's in the earlier days because I'm like, was I 4? Maybe, I don't know. But I remember it was like 3 or 4. I was living at my grandparents' house at the time. My parents were living with my grandparents. We didn't have our own place yet. And so it was a big house filled with people always. And birthdays were a big deal. We would always celebrate in some way, shape, or form. If it wasn't going out doing things, it would just be a nice little dinner inside or whatever. I remember this so vividly in my head. I had a great grandma at the time. May she rest in peace. Oh, love her so much. But she was around at the time and it was her birthday. I, as a child, didn't know it was her birthday until midday. And I was just like, oh, yay, like that's so cool. And I said, okay, so when's the party? When are we gonna do this? They're like, no, honey, she's old. She's old. She doesn't need a party or anything. I said, oh, okay, like, well, let's cut a cake. Like, where's the cake? And everyone was like, no, we're not doing that. And I remember little 4-year-old me, I swear, was just so fed up. So fed up. Like, what do you mean we don't have a cake? We always do that for family. Like, what's the problem? And they're like, yeah, no, it's already late. It was maybe like 7 p.m. from what I remember and what I was told after talking about this story many times as I grew up. It was late and I was just like, oh, let's just make an ice cream cake. Like, I just suggested creating a cake from scratch through ice cream. I remember my family being like, what? I was like, yeah. And so they listened to me. They're like, okay, what do you want to do? All right. I wouldn't take no for an answer. So I went downstairs. Everyone's in their room, minding their business, not caring that it's her birthday. I'm passionate. I have this flat plate. And on my own, I'm scooping all the ice cream we have in the house. So that's one thing that we always had in that damn house. Ice cream. We did not play about that. So I grew up off of ice cream. If there was nothing in the fridge, it was ice cream, okay? But yeah, I remember just scooping ice cream like crazy, like literally finishing the carton of ice cream, whatever I could find, just scooping it all up and making a tower, like a cute little triangle tower that's starting to melt and everything. And then I went to everyone's room when I'm almost done. I'm like, everyone calm down, let's go. And I forced everybody into the dining room to sing happy birthday. We found a candle. I made my great grandmother sit down. I'm like, come on, let's sing happy birthday. And I demanded everyone to sing happy birthday. 4-year-old me making something out of nothing. Just, yeah, ice cream cake. This is ice cream cake. Ain't nobody gonna tell me shit. It's ice cream cake. And I've always remembered that because I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about what I believe in, what I stand on. I made it happen at a young age. And that day always lived in me. And I remember my great grandmother hugging me so tightly and everyone was just laughing like, oh my gosh, this Davielle, she don't play. And I really didn't play as a child. Like I was very mature for my age, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I ended up forcing everyone to come in and it was a beautiful night. And then fast forward now to high school, I actually was doing beauty pageants. If you guys didn't know, I did a few beauty pageants. I was the kid that dibbled and dabbled in a lot of things because I was always trying to see, what do I like, what don't I like. I was open to that. I wasn't scared to dive in and just try something. And so yeah, pageants was the thing for me. And I was super passionate about doing this one particular pageant. I really don't remember the name of it, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a pretty big one in like a big ballroom / stage place and all that stuff. And I got the information for it, but before this specific pageant, I had done one before it, I believe, and it didn't ask for much money and all that, so I did it and it was pretty local. But this one was like pretty big. We'd have to drive a little bit away, and I just insisted on doing it. My mother at the time was like, we just don't have the money. And my family was like, yeah, no, like we can't, sorry. I was like, can't what? I can't do the pageant because of money? Cute. And so I ended up calling the pageant people, and just like, so how can I get around this money thing? And they're like, well, you know, there's a thing where you can get sponsors. You can get people to sponsor you. I was like, oh, okay. And I understood sponsors as, let me go to school and boldly walk into most of my teachers and people that weren't even my teachers at the time classroom and ask them to sponsor me. And so I had the paperwork. I made them mail me what I needed to get the sponsorships. And I said, hi, you know, I'm doing a pageant and I could really use your support. My family just can't afford all of it, but I'm really passionate about doing it. If you all could support me, I would really appreciate that. And I got enough money to do the pageant, and it happened. And it was great. I mean, I didn't do the best. I didn't do the worst either. I was really nervous and all that, but I got it done. Despite however it ended, I didn't get a trophy. Oh, I did get a trophy. I think like most tickets sold because a lot of my family ended up coming. But I think like the speech thing, I didn't do the best. But I was just so proud of myself that I made it happen. Even when people kept saying no, I made sure to find a way. And it didn't have to look like the way that everyone thought it needed to look like. You know, I mean, even in college now, as freshman year comes to an end and you have summertime, I'm not making money, so I'm looking for hustling type jobs. I'm like at Craigslist, I'm doing canvassing. So now I'm knocking on people's doors, even though I was doing that in school, like asking teachers and stuff. Now I'm with an organization asking them to support by giving money, and I was getting paid to do that as a canvasser. And I was confidently doing that. And it was the summertime, and I was just, you know, in different neighborhoods. They drop us off in different neighborhoods. And for hours, I'm walking on foot, knocking on people's door, humbling myself, going hard and making money. I sometimes was the top producer. Sometimes I wasn't doing too well. I mean, I did 3 different canvassing jobs because that was the thing I was finding on Craigslist, because other jobs were asking for degrees and all these things, and I didn't have it yet because I was still in school. I even worked at Victoria's Secret, and you know, that wasn't necessarily a hustle. I just applied and got it, but the canvassing gave me more money technically because I was running my own vibe technically. Like I was my own boss in a sense. I'm going door to door, and however much I make gives me the percentage, blah, 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 just like kind of sales and marketing and stuff. Even when Uber came out, I was one of the people giving out flyers when it just came out and no one knew about Uber. I found it on Craigslist and they were like, we need 3 people. I was one of the 3 people they chose. And I was in downtown Boston giving out flyers, trying to get people to use the code. And people were like, what car is going to pick me up, huh? And I was explaining something. So this is what Uber is about, blah, blah, blah. Like I was there doing all that stuff. And these were the times where I just needed to figure something out. I was scrappy. I was like, look, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So now, finally, towards the end of my college years, like junior year into senior year, I had a limousine job, and I was a reservations agent answering all the calls, and it was like high stress because there was a lot of calls coming in. And let me start by saying this is probably one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had. And I don't talk about it often because there was great things that happened, but it's almost like when you reflect back, you're like, wow, if it wasn't for that job, boom, boom, boom wouldn't happen. So it's that type of job that you have to reflect afterwards to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So yeah, I was a reservations agent, got paid pretty good money, but it was just one call after the other, and people were getting dropped off at the Mandarin, Four Seasons, Intercontinental, like really high-end hotels. So I'm talking to like top-notch people, and they don't got patience. They're like, look, can you book this? Hurry up. People that were calling that were regulars, they need you to remember who they are and get it done fast. Meanwhile, I'm like, I've talked to 200 people. I don't remember you. But as time went on, I was starting to remember it, but that job intimidated me because even the training, there's so much to remember, and they had like an old school system. I really challenged myself to get better and better at that job until finally I started to really do well. And I ended up working there for a while, and then I went back to do my senior year of college. After my senior year, I went back to work. They let me come back, and I'm like, okay, I have my degree, but this is a job that was holding it down, so I'm gonna keep doing it until I can, figure out what's next for me, because I just graduated college. I'm proud of myself, but what now? And there's a lot of pressure on what now. And I didn't have a job lined up for me like a lot of people did, but I didn't let that slow me down. I was just like, anyway, let's go. I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? And so there were some tough days. Me and dispatcher kind of got into it a little bit, because I was just like, you're not about to come at me. Like they were tough, but it was like needed, because at that time I was also stepping into my voice and speaking up. And so when I say go at it, I just mean like we'd go back and forth. Like these were very strong men. I was a strong woman being like, absolutely not. That's not okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's talk about it. But I was very respectful. Like the general manager, we got along really well. And even the reservations manager, we ended up getting close after I graduated college. And if you're watching this, I love you so much. You know who you are. Okay. But yeah, me and her, like, she was just awesome. She's so cool, so dope. And she really made working there really great for me. And I started to like talk to people there, and it was nice, even though I was there already for like 2 years, but it took time to warm up. And then one day I started to observe a lot that was going on in the job. There was complaints, of course, like there's over like 100 chauffeurs working there. Of course, there's opinions. Plus there were like greeters, people at the airport that were picking up the passengers to bring them to the hotels, to bring them to their homes, whatever the case may be. And I remember being like, hold up. I have my degree. I've been working here. I've been out of college 3 months now, maybe 4 months. I need to either figure out my next steps now, or I can grow in this company. Mind you, there was no open position outside of what I was doing. And the finance department, payroll, the manager for the chauffeurs, those were the roles really. And the general manager, they were in their roles real comfortable. Plus the CEO was there every single day. So much respect for him, but there was just no other open roles. So I was just one day like, okay, I'm trying to think of how to find another job because I need to work on my communication skill. I got a degree in this, so I got it this, that, and the third. I said, but I'm somewhere already. How can I put a little bit of me into this job? Because there's challenging days just like any other job, and there are things I don't love, but there are things I actually really like about this company, and I feel like I can offer them more. And so I was like, okay, instead of trying to leave here, let's grow. Let's figure out a way to add more. And so I started to be like, as a communications major, and public relations was my concentration, I believe. Am I right? I don't know. It's been years. It's been like 10 years. Okay. I was like, okay, I can come up with a newsletter for the company that helps bring the morale up, that helps the reservation agents get to know the chauffeurs, because as reservation agents, we were always inside and the chauffeurs were outside doing the work. So we didn't really know who's who. We're trying to get to know people. The greeters knew some chauffeurs, but didn't. So I was like, I could do a newsletter that announces when there is a new car available, when there is a chauffeur doing outstanding work, giving them the shine that they deserve, doing some humanitarian things like donating to certain causes. I was like, we're missing that in that company. This company is growing, it's beautiful, but I was just like, I can add more. So I went home one day and I started to brainstorm, how can I contribute to this company without anyone asking me? It's not like I went to someone like, hey, I want to contribute more, and they're like, come up with an idea. No, that was not the type of job. Like, this is the type of job ran by mainly men, and they just need to get the shit done and go home. I wanted to do a newsletter. I wanted to decorate the office. It was like, we need a little pizzazz. It was like a warehouse vibe in there that housed all the cars, and then what we were in looked I mean, it wasn't a trailer, but it kind of looked like a trailer, but it was a spacious trailer and it was nice in there and everything. But I was like, why don't we decorate during certain seasons? Let's like not have the turnover rate increase more. Let's have people feel special while they're here so they can last longer. And so, yeah, I went home, I created a PowerPoint and a detailed PowerPoint of what I'm going to do with the company, why the company could really benefit from what I have to offer. And I proposed actually creating a whole new position, which was, I believe, marketing manager. I hope I'm accurate. I believe it's marketing manager or community manager. No, I think it was marketing manager because my other job was community manager. Yeah. So I think it was marketing manager, and it was just marketing within the company and not necessarily outwardly yet, at least. So I created a mock newsletter. I had like a 20-page PowerPoint of how I'm going to do this and the step-by-step plan. And one day I asked the CEO if I can have a meeting with him. And he was like, absolutely. He was so down to earth. I really appreciated him. No bad things to say, truly. Like, he was great. And he was like, sure, let's do it. He was just a businessman. Like, if he's like, hi, how are you? But he's down to business. Let's go. When he's mad, he's mad. Hey, look, but always respectful, always kind. I hope he knows I appreciate you. I really do. I want to say his name, but anyway. We end up, I'm so excited saying this. So just a kiki. We just talk. I ended up going into his office and I said, I have a PowerPoint presentation for you. Plus I have a new role that I would like to propose. And I know the pay that I'm looking for. I know the hours that I'm looking for. And I know what I want to do with this company. Are you open to hearing what I have to say? And I think he looked pretty shocked from what I remember. And he was just like, okay, let's hear it. I would love to hear it. And we scheduled, I think, the next day or something to have the presentation. So I'm like freaking out inside. Mind you, I still have a job to do. It was a full-time job that I was doing as a res agent. And I was still doing this on the side while living my life. I think I had a boyfriend at the time. I had friends going left and right. I was doing a lot, but I made time to do this. And I even told him I graduated. I want to contribute what I've learned in college into this job. I feel like you could really benefit from it. And so he let me do the presentation in front of him, the general manager, and the reservations manager, I believe. I went in and I did a long presentation. It was probably like an hour. And just like the sweet but stern person he is, he's like, okay, thank you. This was great. Thank you so much. We're going to think about it and we'll let you know. When I tell you, after that meeting, a whole like 3 weeks went by. I didn't hear diddly squat. He didn't say anything to me, nothing. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know. But I just had faith. I was just like, if he valued what I had to say, then it's a done deal. But I can't overthink it. And what I'm asking of him is a pretty big deal. It's not like I'm just like, I'll just do this on the side. Like, no. This is the pay, this is the boom, 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 this is all the stuff that I'm looking for. But I don't think in the presentation I said the pay. I just said this is the name of the role and these are the things that I would do. And it's a part-time role because what I was doing, there's only a certain amount of hours I could allocate for it. I just couldn't think of more to do at the time. And after about 3 weeks or so, he called me into his office and he was like, I accept your offer. Let's do it. We're going to create the role for you. We're going to have payroll, add you on. I think I like signed a paper or something like that. And that like following week or two, I started and I created a newsletter. Me and the CEO, every 2 weeks or so, me and him would be in the office and he would tell me all the new things going on, everything I need to add to the newsletter. The general manager would come over to me. Oh, and we have this going on. Add this, boom, boom, boom. I created so many newsletters for them. So I would put everyone's face and name and give them the credit and what they are, who they are, like introducing everyone through the newsletter. Introducing, like I said, the new cars that we had, the new hotels that we had business with, the reviews that we were getting, just different things happening in the business. I was the one relaying it to everybody. And it was those meetings with the CEO that would make that happen. And it lasted for a while, and then the holidays came. He gave me a certain budget for me to go out on my own to buy all the decoration for the office. So I would stay late, decorate, do all this stuff. And it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible just being able to do it. And yeah, there were challenges, whatever. I'm not even remembering the challenges because I'm just elated right now just thinking about it. And it was great. It was actually amazing. There were moments where, you know, people wanted more recognition. And like I actually got feedback later on that the chauffeurs really appreciated what I was doing. I think I even did like free AMC gift card or something towards the holidays. We did like a deal with a restaurant where people that worked there could bring their families to go and eat for a really, really good price. But it was like an Italian restaurant, and the CEO had connections with him. So he actually, I think, bought that idea up after I mentioned we should do something with food that people can go enjoy. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. He was so open to my ideas, which I so appreciate. For holidays, instead of like Halloween decoration, we just did like fall decoration. So there were leaves and DIY things I would create in the bathroom. The toilet paper I decorated as like little pumpkins, and our bulletin boards, everyone's reservation agent area had bulletin boards that had decoration on it that showed the pop of fall. It gave the office a vibrant feel and energy, truly. And people loved it. Like, when they would walk in, like, this is so awesome. And I would stay late to do that. And I was getting paid too. But like I said, it was a part-time job because I was still doing the other role. And I still made time. I still was passionate about it for Christmas. Same type of vibe. The chauffeurs and the greeters, we would send them food. We'd make sandwiches, drink, and something, or like order them, not make them, order them, I think, and put them in brown bags, and everyone would have a surprise lunch or something. Like really thoughtful things, and it was in his budget, so he was able to do it. And my goodness, people were so grateful. We donated jackets. I mean, there were so many great things we were doing, and it made me so happy. And I took a leap of faith in a time where I felt like I wanted to build experience, build a level of like a portfolio, you know, just experience, portfolio, just my next job. This is what I've been doing. This is what I can bring to the table because I created this position in this job. And it was the best thing that I could do because my first corporate job came off the backs of the role I created. That job that I got next did not care about the reservations agent. And I knew that. I didn't care about that. They cared about the marketing position I had because I was writing. In my next job, I had to write a lot. There was a lot of things, blogs I was writing and stuff, and it set me up. And that job was really different from what I had. But like I said, because I created that from scratch, and instead of just saying, forget this job, like I'm going to create something in there that matters to me and show that I have something to give, really meant a lot to the CEO. I could tell meant a lot to the people that worked there and meant a lot to me. And it was just such a beautiful representation of like how us as humans, our power is far greater than what we could ever imagine sometimes. I was working like some days like 15 hours, and literally after some of my shifts still going out clubbing with my friends because I wanted to be a good friend still. And I remember the boyfriend at the time, I would have to show him my schedule, like here's where I can include you into my day or my week because I was so busy. And I was like, here's a time I've made for you in these days, but if you want to wiggle something else or figure something else out, let's do it. At the part-time, I was working like maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and it would be in the mornings. And so was I sleeping? Maybe, you know, and some days I think I worked it out where I can go in Saturdays or something like that. But yeah, I was always just putting in work, steps ahead as best as I could. And it was all off the backs of something that I created, something that I stood on and believed in and took a chance. So I say a lot of this to say, it's a long video. Sometimes you're in a situation because you're meant to bring so much more, whether it's to that situation, to your life, to challenge yourself in ways that you would have never imagined. That skill set and being able to take risk has helped me so much. And now, even with my degree in communication, the things I've gone through, I've been homeless, I've been a hustler, but there are things that happen in life that are just meant to happen. I've pivoted so much and have taken so much challenge in that I can be proud of myself and say this story with so much excitement because I'm like, wow. And so add a little you to the job that you're at. You know what I mean? If you are even an entrepreneur and you're doing something and you're taking notes and you're watching other people like, oh, that's how you're supposed to do it, still bring your spunk, your pizzazz to what you're doing. Even with baking, I see all the baking videos, everyone's so uniformed and everything has to be perfect. I'm like, look, let's see if this baking comes out good or not. Hey, we chilling. Look, I'm getting the bag of flour, I'm making a mess because life ain't always perfect. And I like that route. Maybe other people are doing that too, but it's just adding a bit of me in whatever I'm doing. And I've lost that along the way sometimes, and I've gained it. It's been a challenge, a push and pull. I'm not saying I'm an expert at this. I'm just saying in the times where I have really pushed myself, I've seen amazing things, even while being in a place where I was a nomad and traveling, all that, then homeless and all that stuff, and then living with a stranger, and then doing all this other stuff. It's like, I learned so much about me. I learned how to stay calm in the most challenging situations. I used to have a fuse that would blow. If you watch my previous video, I had a relationship that really got the anger out of me and I was ready to just pounce at anybody. And it taught me how to stay calm in a time where I can't control something. It gave me the confidence now because I've been through what I've been through. You can't tell me shit. Yeah, I could come here with cornrows. What's up? Like, I could come here with this shirt that may be clean, maybe not. Who cares? Life is so beautiful and there's so much more that you can add to life, but sometimes you're going to be put in an extremely uncomfortable situation to learn some things about yourself. And maybe it's not uncomfortable, but it's just asking you to take another look. I could have been that child, for example, with the cake, the ice cream cake that I made for my grandmother. I could have been that child that cried, like, what do you mean you're not celebrating her birthday? I came up with a solution. I was just like, hey, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's give it a try. I don't care what I look like. Yeah, the ice cream was melting everywhere, but we're going to give it a chance and we're going to try. I've never seen anyone build an ice cream cake with just scoops of ice cream. It's always uniform. It's perfect. But sometimes life isn't about just perfect. It's about taking a leap of faith. Even when I did the presentation at the job, I'm sure it wasn't perfect, you know, but I took a chance and it was heard and seen. And so I just felt the need to share that. Any area you are in your life right now, whether you're the richest person ever, if you feel a level of unfulfillment or something coming in, try something new. It's okay. I'm telling you, till this moment, I'm like, I'm baking. Like, if you told me I was cooking, I'd be like, oh, okay. Baking bread? What are you talking about? There's bread at the store. Why can't I go pick up? My whole mentality has changed. I'm telling you, if a decade ago you told me I'd be a vegetarian, I would have laughed in your face. I'd have been like, yeah, right. No way. I love my chicken too much. I was such a big chicken and seafood person. And now I don't touch none of that. There's so much in life that you don't know about yourself until you're put in the situation and then you take the leap. And then you're like, okay, let me get to know this side of me and not stay rigid. So yeah, I don't know what this did for you, but it did a lot for me. It brought me joy. Just telling the story. I'm like, I did that. That's cool, you know? And so that motivates me more. I don't know what's next for me. I just know that life is guiding me in an unorthodox way. I'm gonna ride the motherfucking wave. I'm gonna ride. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I'm gonna end it here. It's already a pretty long video. So please support your girl if you'd like. I appreciate you being here. I hope to see you on the next one, whatever the next one is, because you know I'm free as a bird. Okay? So I will see you when I see you, and I love you. My name is Davielle once again. I'll see you soon. I hope. Bye.